Alright, today we're going to do the V60 versus the iPhone 12. V60, one of my favorite phones this year, hands down. They did such a great job with this phone. So the iPhone is going to cost you $830 brand new on Apple's website. V60 $600. Mine's was used or refurbished. I'll put the link down below off of eBay. That's where I got mine's. And yeah, just the V60 by itself, no dual screen case. Both of these phones are glass and metal phones. They're both very good looking phones as well. As you can see, the V60 is a giant compared to the iPhone. You can just put it inside the screen pretty much, and you still have like space at the bottom and at the top. Pretty crazy. So they both feel really good. The V60 definitely a little bit heavier, and looks about the same thickness. The iPhone might be a little thicker. You do have your power button on both sides. On the right side, mute vibration switch, volume rockers on both sides, Google Assistant button on the V60. V60, one of the rare flagships to still have a headphone jack, USB Type-C, the lightning cable, stereo speakers on both, and with that headphone jack you do have the quad DAC as well, which is really awesome. So we have our trendy camera design on the iPhone, have a little raise on both, actually both logos on the back. Both phones are IP68 dust and water resistant, which is really great, so you can get these phones wet and they won't break. So you see a big difference with the display. So on the V60 you have a POLED HDR10 Plus 6.8 inch display, 1080p 395 for the PPI. iPhone, you have the Super Retina XDR OLED display. It's HDR10, and that is also a 1080p panel for 60 for the PPI, so slightly higher PPI on the iPhone's display here. Both displays are just absolutely beautiful. Colors and everything just really pop on both of these displays here. Is something that I just really love to see. So obviously the big thing is display size here. So if you just don't like big phones, you will not like the V60. So the iPhone keeps this notch for years. Was a little disappointing because I thought they were going to get rid of it this year, but if they don't get rid of it next year, it's going to be a huge problem for me at least. But as you can see, water drop notch, you have the Face ID, which is great, but is it worth keeping this big notch up here for a couple more years? I don't know. iPhone people, let me know. Both displays are really nice and bright and vibrant, like I said, and I just love looking at both. It comes down to personal preference. If you like to look at a lot of media and stuff like that, obviously the bigger the display is, the better it's going to be. But if you just want something a little more compact, then the iPhone is definitely the way to go. Like I said, they both do 1080p. And they both look really great. They both get really bright outdoors too. So let's go ahead and talk about the specs a little bit more. So iOS 14, we have Android 10. This will get Android 11. It just hasn't gotten it yet. We have the Snapdragon 865, and then we have the Apple A14 chip on the iPhone. We have micro SD support on the V60, no micro SD support on the iPhone, and only 64 gigs of internal storage and 4 gigs of RAM on the iPhone. And on the V60, 128 gigs of internal storage and 8 gigs of RAM. So we're getting way more storage on the V60 and a little bit more RAM as well. Well, actually a lot more RAM, right? Both of these phones have NFC for mobile payments, and they both have different ways of getting into the device. So yeah, Face ID is the only way to get into the device on the iPhone, and the only way to get into the device on the V60 is with the fingerprint scanner, which actually is very fast. Now, there's no face unlock option on the V60 for whatever reason. I do not know. If anyone knows, let me know. But yeah, it's not there, which is strange. So you don't have that second option on the V60. You're strictly are going to use the fingerprint scanner, or you're going to put in the pin pattern or whatever. And you can do it on the iPhone too. Put in a pin or a password or something like that. So those are your only options. So a little disappointing for both, but yeah, so they're both very fast. They both work really well. I've never had an issue with the fingerprint sensor on the V60 or Face ID on the iPhone. Alright, let's go ahead and do a quick speed test. We have applications cleared on both. Start off with YouTube. Faster on the V60. Let's do Instagram. Faster on the iPhone. And it's Temple Run. Temple Run. Faster on the V60. So wow, I wasn't expecting the V60 to win here. Alright, let's keep it going. Let's go Google Earth. That was a tie. Look, the iPhone got it there. Let's try the web browser. Let's go on Yahoo Finance. Let's try to get the desktop version. Where is it? Oh. Alright. 3, 2, 1. Look like the V60 got it there. Yeah, the iPhone's still loading up. Alright, now we're in. And as you can see, the benefit of having a bigger screen, you just can see way more content, you know, on your screen. But again, that's not really a flaw on the iPhone's part. Subway Surfer. Look at the iPhone got it there. Alright, let's try a heavy game, Call of Duty, or let's try PUBG. And you can expect graphics and stuff like that to run pretty much the same, and we're in on the iPhone first. The iPhone loads up games just crazy fast. Let's go ahead and get into a game. So for gaming performance, you know, these are the latest processors, so it's going to be pretty much the same. It's not going to be a surprise. Graphics, we can go Ultra HD. I have to download I have to download it, but we can do that. So you have both settings. You can do Ultra HD on both of these phones for PUBG, and it's gonna look and run great, very smooth on both. So alright, so here are the Geekbench scores for those of you who are gonna ask. As you can see, much higher score on the iPhone on the single core, and a little bit higher score on the multi-core as well. So let's go ahead and get into the speaker comparison here. Alright, let's go ahead and start off with the iPhone. Yo, the V60 speakers are so loud, man. I thought the iPhone was gonna at least match it, but yeah, it's definitely a little bit louder by a noticeable difference. Yeah, it's just loud. They both have great bass presence, mids and highs are great. So the V60, like I thought, is loud. It might be the best speaker I've heard this year. Now, of course, I haven't tested every phone out, but yeah, these speakers are crazy loud. Now let's talk about cameras. So on the V60, you have a triple camera setup, 64 megapixel standard, 13 megapixel ultra wide, and 8.3 depth sensor. You can shoot 8K video actually, which is really crazy. You have a 10 megapixel selfie camera that shoots in 4K. On the iPhone, it's a dual camera setup, 12 megapixel wide, 12 megapixel ultra wide. You can shoot in 4K, so V60 has a leg up in video, at least with resolution. And you have 12 megapixel selfie camera with 4K video. You can shoot in 24, 30, or 60 FPS on both lenses on the iPhone. So basically, cameras on here are very competitive. It's the same story with the V50. So you have tons of detail on both. The iPhone is going to give you a kind of oversaturated look, kind of like the Samsung devices. The V60 is going to give you a color profile that's very real to life. So that is something that I really like. When I take a photo, I want to remember it how it was. I don't really want like a souped up version, but that's just me. A lot of people really like that on Samsung devices and iPhones, but I do like that sort of color profile. So I think both cameras are really good. I think the 8K video on the V60 is going to be a really nice if you're into video and just high res content. Let's talk about battery life. V50, 5,000 milliamp battery. You also have wireless charging. The iPhone, you have a 2,815 milliamp battery. You also have fast charging and wireless charging. Basically, it's really no competition with battery life. The iPhone, you can get a day of battery life, so around 6 hours to 6 hours and 30 minutes of screen on time. The V50 really lasts over, at least going into at least 9 hours and 30 minutes. I've seen drain tests on the V60 going up to 10 hours, so it really does last that long. It's really crazy. The standby time on here is really good too, so the battery life is no joke on the V60. Now, if you get a dual screen case, is that going to cut into the battery life? Yes. If you're on 5G on both of these phones, is it going to cut into the battery life? Yes. Now, if you're on 4G, those are the numbers you're going to get. So 6 and around 9 to 10 hours of screen on time on the V60. So definitely the winner in battery performance. So what do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.